Welcome back to the Bulletin. We're zooming straight to our stories tonight, beginning with developments in the capital market. The Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Reverend Daniel Ogbamitete, has disclosed that the Commission is dialoguing with the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana so that fund managers who have funds invested in specialized deposit-taking institutions such as savings and loans companies take back such locked-up investments. The Ministry of Finance had earlier disclosed that an amount of about 4 billion Ghana cedis will be used to resuscitate the savings and loans sector as well as the microfinance sector. Now, Reverend Ogbamitete, who was speaking on the Super Morning Show, noted fund management companies that invested in savings and loans companies will receive their funds and be able to pay back investors.
We have what I call counterparty defaults. Okay, so let's say a fund manager invests money with a counterparty. So let's say a bank or a savings and loans company, or let's say a microfinance company, and the bank or the savings and loans company or the microfinance company runs into some difficulty. You'll find that can affect the ability of our licensed operator, as the market operator, to be able to get the funds. Okay, so that is one of the reasons why we've seen some of our operators having a lot of complaints made to us about their inability to pay them because of counterparty default. And I'd like to put out that the SEC, I'm sure you know that the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana have in recent times given indication that there will be some kind of intervention in some distressed savings and loans companies, microfinance companies. But I think they did something for the bank, some of the banks that were in distress. I think we know about it, you alluded to it. And they'll be looking at the SNL's microfinance and all of that. So the SEC, we've started engaging with the ministry and certainly also with the Bank of Ghana.
Let's break this down for you. Joining me in studio is Joy Business researcher Philip Namfori. I was going to call you Namfori, I don't know why. But he joins me in the studio to break this all down for us. Philip, so what is SEC saying essentially?
Okay, so SEC is saying that this counterparty default that it mentions is not any big financial term. All it means is that in a financial transaction, when one party has a risk of default, it would affect another party. So let's use what's happening right now. Fund management companies invested people's funds into assets such as fixed deposits, commercial papers, etc. In this case, they've put it into savings and loans companies, microfinance institutions, maybe in some of their money market instruments, example, fixed deposits. So what happens is that these savings and loans companies and microfinance in turn lend these out as their primary function, financial intermediation. So they're giving these out to people to borrow, and these people in turn have defaulted on their loans. So in turn, funds that have gone out can't come back to the savings and loans. And these fund management companies that have also invested in the savings and loans, etc., will also get their money back. So it becomes a chain. Savings and loans can't get their money back. So therefore, whoever has invested in them can't also get their money back. And that's what's going on right now. That's one of the reasons why we are seeing the challenges in the fund management space.
And so what does this imply for the broader investing public?
Well, a lot of funds are at stake because if you look at fund management companies investing millions in savings and loans also giving millions out in terms of loans. If there's one, as we are seeing right now, one savings and loans company has a liquidity challenge, has a squeeze, people are also knocking on their doors for their funds. Fund management companies also have a liquidity squeeze. People are also knocking on their doors for funds. And the
so robbing Peter to pay Paul? Not exactly.
Not necessarily, but if you don't solve problem A, problem B cannot be solved. So once this funds, the 4 billion from the bailout, or reform as we call it, will be given to the savings and loans microfinance institutions. When they are made whole, then they can also make whole these fund management companies and everybody else, investors like you and I, are also made whole.
So the situation is not exactly resolved, is it?
No. This is just one of the challenges. Others also have challenges, according to Reverend Ogbamitete, as he discussed on the Super Morning Show today. But this is one of the challenges, and he listed 7 key points where challenges in this fund management space come from. And this one was the first one he mentioned, and it's very important because once there's a problem in the savings and loans microfinance institutions in terms of they're not getting their funds back. Obviously, anybody who is going to place funds there, be it from a fund management company or from an individual, will not be able to get their funds back. And you see that the problem continues rolling.
All right. And so I'm sure people listening to this story tonight are saying, well, perhaps it seems like we are making headway, but it doesn't appear so, does it? What's the way out of all of this?
One, in the immediate will be for BOG, Ministry of Finance, to make sure that this 4 billion is available and is ready in cash to bail out these financial institutions that are in distress. Because if you realize with the banking one, it took some time for some of these banks and to get the physical money. So it should really be available, 1. 2, regulation should be improved, SEC, BOG, more collaboration. That's where the issue of regulation comes inside. You know, right now we have the Financial Stability Council. Would that be a panacea to some of these miscommunication between the key regulators and the financial services space? Down.
All right, thank you very much. Philip Namfori, he's a Joy Business researcher and analyst, breaking it all down for us tonight. Well, Access Bank Ghana, as a way of improving its loan book, says it will increase investments in the agri sector. The bank made this known when it took its turn at the Facts Behind the Figures series at the Ghana Stock Exchange.
Overview of its 2018 report showed that Access Bank Ghana fell short in its lending rate following the restructuring in the banking sector and meeting the minimum capital requirements. However, for 2019, the bank intends to improve its loan books by lending more to its customers. Olumide Olatunji is Managing Director of Access Bank Ghana.
We said we identified companies that export out of Ghana. So we were doing a bit of export discounting. So you have exported your goods, you are yet to get the monies. So we will discount those exports also for companies that meet our risk assessment criteria in that sector.
In a related development, Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Kofi Yamwa, explained that it will soon make the presentation of annual reports by its traders obligatory. He explained that this is important as it will keep shareholders abreast with developments of the companies they are investing in.
We had a turn of Access Bank and we got to know many more of the issues that are behind the figures. That's the purpose of that. So far, the program is optional, but going forward into the future, we consider making it obligatory for all issuers that are on the market to do it. The idea is this. For example, in the case of Access, the MD take a lot of time to explain the fact that they are global as far as Africa is concerned and outside Africa is concerned.
Now we are getting an idea of how much the economy has grown in the last quarter of 2018. Economic growth for the fourth quarter of last year has increased to 6.8%, an increment over the same period in 2017, which was pegged then at 5.5%. The current growth rate is led by the industrial sector, which recorded 8.9%, followed by services sector with 5.8%. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna Enim, in an address to the media, also revealed that the year 2018 grew by 6.3%. There's more in this report.
The growth rate for the fourth quarter is led by the industry subsector, which recorded a rate of 8.9% on the back of operations in the mining subsector. It was followed by the services sector with a rate of 5.8%. The agricultural sector had a declining growth rate of 4.4% for the quarter, despite a marginal pickup in the crop subsector. Let's hear from the government statistician, Professor Kobna Enim.
Quarter 4 2018 GDP puts it at 39,473.2 million Ghana cedis, and for the same period, that is quarter 4 2017, the estimated value for our final goods and services is 36,950.8 million Ghana cedis. Again, the difference between 2018 quarter 4 and 2017 quarter 4 is about 3,000 million Ghana cedis. The year-on-year quarterly GDP growth rate for quarter 4 2018 was 6.8 compared to 5.5 recorded for quarter 4 2017. The quarter-on-quarter GDP growth rate, seasonally adjusted for quarter 2018, was 1.7%, and the rate recorded for the third quarter of 2018 was 1.8%.
He has also been explaining what these growth rates means for the country and its impact on the development of the people.
Certainly, once the per capita GDP goes up, what it simply means is that we've accounted for the population within the country. So if the annual GDP that we showed earlier on pointed to a figure of 300,000 million, approximately 300,000 million Ghana cedis, and it translates into 9,000, approximately 9,000 per capita GDP, and this showing an increase of about 1,000 between 2017 and 2018. Certainly this is good because on the average, but let's put on record that on the average, this is the annual amount. The distribution is another argument. This is why towards the end of my presentation I said that statistically we can compute the average by simply dividing the GDP figure by the population. But that doesn't mean that it has an equal distributional effect, in which case the lowest in the economy, that is the poorest in the economy, are going to benefit compared to the richest.
Gross domestic growth without oil grew by 8.4% for the year 2018.
The managing director of Jumia Ghana says the company will be setting up new pickup points outside Accra to facilitate the expansion of its operations to other regions. The e-commerce firm has raised some $196 million after listing on the New York Stock Exchange. It's the first African e-commerce business to list. Speaking to Joy Business, MD for Jumia Ghana, Kayode Adeyinka, said the listing of the company is a great opportunity to better their expansion work.
Shares on Africa's largest e-commerce firm, Jumia, started trading on the New York Stock Exchange last Friday. By close of markets on Monday, April 15, 2019, the last trading price for Jumia Technologies was $31.91, 68.39% higher than its initial opening price of $18.95. Speaking to Joy Business, the MD for Jumia Ghana, Kayode Adeyinka, said the business will leverage its fresh capital to expand its services in the country.
The current listing that we've done on New York Stock Exchange, we've raised capital to operate across Africa, regardless of Ghana or the other markets. What does it mean directly for us in Ghana? It means obviously we have more funds to be able to continue the business and even expand the business in Ghana. So when I say expansion, obviously in Ghana today we have 5 pickup stations spread across Accra. Expanding beyond Accra obviously means we'll actually have more pickup stations spread across Kumasi, Tamale, Cape Coast, and all of that. We have plans to go everywhere. The other topic is it's a demand and supply. We also need to actually have vendors, sellers that are also based in these different regions. So as we are expanding on one hand, the availability and the reachability for consumers to be able to actually pick up products or have products delivered to them. On the other hand as well, we're increasing our vendor base, our seller base, that will also be coming from these regions.
As the company looks to extend in its tentacles, the MD said they look forward to more investors coming on board, especially local investors.
Prior to the listing, we've got MTN, we've got Goldman Sachs, we've got MasterCard, we've also got AXA Insurance as well, that are actually part of the pool of private investors we have. Going public means every African now can also have a bite of this, and it also shows that Africa is ripe. Africa is very dynamic, full with youthful people. We've got the population, and I think in the last 2 years there's been increase in FDI investments in Africa. I think so. These also sells in the right direction that Africa is ripe. Africa is ready to actually take investments both locally and foreign. But as you rightly said, we will employ also local investment.
For Joy Business, Sheila Tamaklo reporting.
Let's turn to some aviation news now. And Managing Director of the Airports Company Limited, Yao Kwakwa, says the company is considering reserving the Terminal 2 of the Kotoka International Airport for use by the new home-based carrier when it becomes operational. Now, this comes on the back of concerns about the future of the facility, which is currently underutilized. But speaking to Joy Business, MD for the Airports Company said his outfit is considering ways of maximizing the facility, including allocating it for activities of the new home-based carrier.
Prior to September last year, when operations of domestic airlines were moved to Terminal 2, the terminal was used for international and long-haul flights. The facility has the capacity to handle up to 750 passengers an hour. But following the changes, concerns have been raised about the facility being underutilized by the domestic operators. But responding to the issue, Managing Director of the Ghana Airports Company Limited, Yao Kwakwa, said there are plans to use the terminal as an operating base for the home-based carrier.
You all know about this home-based carrier. So the question is, if this home-based carrier comes on board, they will need a place to operate from. And we believe that one of the key options, is to give them a big part of Terminal 2 to become their base. If you look at all the big airlines around the world, all the major airlines, they all have like a hub. That is their center of operations, whereby everything comes and then it goes. Of course, Accra International Airport is going to be the hub of this home-based carrier, but the question is, where exactly? We believe that one of the options is to give a portion of Terminal 2 to them. And so, in addition to this, we are entertaining a few other offers. And so we are going to look at it and make a firm decision.
Mr. Kwakwa further noted works was ongoing at the Terminal 1 to be used as a private jet servicing center by a new investor, Magdan Company Limited.
There was this interest expressed by the private sector to use it to use the entire terminal building for facilitating logistics at the airport. It was good business for the company, and therefore approval was given. In fact, it was done before I assumed the leadership of the company, but it is a good one in the sense that the entire terminal building is not going to generate revenue. You wouldn't have to spend money to maintain it without having anything coming back to us. And so it is ongoing. The agreement was signed months ago, and the activities are ongoing. The refurbishment of the Terminal 1 to facilitate the new business was born by the investors. Magdan Shipping.
For Joy Business, Sheila Tamaklo reporting.
You're watching Business Live. Now, it's a craft that appears to be fading. Few people are entering into the watch repair business, perhaps because it's not considered lucrative enough in the wake of technology advancement. One man, though, has stuck to it for 40 years and does not intend abandoning his tools anytime soon. The Joy Business van visits Dawood Watchworks here in Accra, owned by Dauda Isaka. Dauda Isaka spends his day fixing watches. He's owner of Dawood Watchworks. That is where the Joy Business van is today. Dauda spent 4 decades doing this and has never gotten tired. At his shop in Adabraka here in Accra, he shows me some of the watches and clocks he's had to fix, some decades old. One was bought to you in which year? Do you remember?
Oh, I think last year.
Last year. The person say how old? He was encouraged to learn to fix watches by his father. Then a supervisor at the airport, Dauda quit to undertake a watch repair course. That was in the 70s.
I was surprised. I'm trying to be, from where I am, to be maybe messenger, graduate to clerical officer. I asked him to go and watch repairing for what? I didn't money him. But he's always worrying me about that. Okay, I decided, okay, you take me to your friend.
And that was a blessing in disguise as Dauda looks back. After a few years of apprenticeship, Dauda set up in 1978 on a tabletop. More people were becoming accustomed to wearing watches then, mostly the middle class. As time evolved, the make of watches changed from mechanicals, wind-ups to quartz, powered by batteries. The certified watch repairer had to rewire to become a go-to person for watch repairs.
I remember those early days when you bring a battery watch, I tell you, I don't repair a battery watch. I give it to him. But after second thought, I could say that if I don't refresh myself on this new machine that has come, I'll lag behind. So I started trying my hands on it.
With his magnifying monocle, Dauda does all the magic, aligning tiny gears and springs painstakingly. Fast forward to today, demand for watches globally is said to be on the decline, perhaps because of smartphones, but it is also true that many still buy watches and needing them serviced.
Look at the TV, look at the stars. They show them, they zoom their watches, the expensive watches. They are proud of it. Children, school children, wearing watches. They can never, derail my work. No. People believe in watches. They love watches. Some cannot go out. When he goes out and within a second he'll remember to go back and take his watch.
What is troubling for Dauda is that fewer people are getting into the craft. Real professional repairers are becoming rare. Instead, an increase in quacks.
There's only few. Those who are around spoiling our work is those who sell, because there's no work. So he finds a small glass, put some watches and leathers with a small pen knife, and then walking in town selling leathers. Even if the watch is not working, you give it to me, he'll open it and mess it. See, because he's not trained. Before you become a repairer, you have to be trained.
But Dauda says this craft can be lucrative. He attends to more than 20 clients in a day. The challenge is that some of the spare parts are hard to find. Most of them are imported. Dauda thinks it's time the country considers assembling watches.
Government after government haven't done well for those who are doing our own things. It is only Kwame Nkrumah who did well. You see, look at the mountain tailors. Some tailors, he took them abroad. Some watch repairers, took them abroad. Fitters, we can assemble watches here. Government after government, they all come here and repair their watches. They help pushing us. We can import those breakdown things and then we put them together here. And that will make the price less.
During his 40-year career, Dauda has fixed the watches of many prominent people, including the gold clock of the Asante King, Otumfuo Osei II.
I have ministers during Rawlings time, present ministers. They come here, I repair for them. There are people who don't come themselves, they send people to come. And recently, I think I went to Otumfuo's house to repair his gold clock for him.
You repaired Otumfuo's?
Yes, I was invited.
Wow.
But I'm yet to meet him because I wanted to see and shake the King Solomon.
You should have been happy.
Very, very, very happy. I wish I meet him.
Meeting the Asante King would cap his decades-long profession as a watch repairer. Meantime, Dauda is training interested people. His children have learned the craft and look set to take over when he decides to abandon his tools. Years in the business of repairing watches, you've got to have passion to do that. And well, one thing Dauda told me is that it's gentlemanly to wear watches, and I'm kind of wondering where my watches are, or my watch is at the moment. Doesn't show the gentleman in me, does it?